moving on, I'm going to share my second story. And this happened last night. And it was Halloween. It was Halloween, so my friends were having a concert. They're in a band. They're very talented musicians at a small venue. And this venue is very alternative. It has like a hodgepodge kind of aesthetic to it. And with that, definitely alternative. So you're going to have some very colorful folks coming into that, which 99.99% of the time I appreciate. Now, this is more of a story exploring my selfishness in these social settings. And so I get there, and the whole seating setup is everyone like along the wall. And a lot of us are in costumes. I go as the bandit. I was gonna go as a cowboy, but with COVID, I had to improvise. So there it is, the bandit. And so with that, I get in. I'm shaking up with everybody, and we're talking, we're having a good time, and each one of those bandmates in that band had their own individual set. So I came in with one of the girls playing violin, wonderful set, very great. And eventually I have this bartender come behind me. She's like, "Excuse me, I need you to move to like a table over there or something. More people are coming in and buying drinks." I'm like, okay, fuck you, but whatever. I mean, they're going up anytime soon anyway. So I moved to this very small table that's literally the size of like this laptop. It's small. And I'm watching them go on stage. They're finally on stage. No loss at this point. These old 65-year-old steampunks come sitting in front of me. Now, that's not the issue. They had hats that were 2 feet tall. They're like goth mad hatters, man. And like my selfishness, like my autistic selfishness was like, what the fuck? Why do they think they can do that? How dare they have their own version of a good time because it's ruining mine? And I wish they would have respected the fact people were there to see the show and maybe move a little back. And here's where it gets weird. This is the whole eye contact thing that we hate. We hate eye contact sometimes. I've gotten very good at it, but this was just a little overwhelming. And I think this could have been overwhelming to a lot of other people. So these guys are right in front of me. They've got 2-foot hats on, and they're just weird. At one point, I heard them say, "You know what? I regret not ironing my mask." I'm like, what the fuck, man? You say that right as after the song's done and everyone's clapping, like you're asking for that attention. Like I could tell they were looking for attention, at least in my eyes. And so what happened next is the one guy was getting a drink. He was going to the bar getting a beer or something. Actually, it was a Monster Energy. I think he might have been a sober driver. Fair. But this woman is just like, she's like right, and she's like looking back at the entire time he's getting this drink, like 2 minutes, dead stare. And I am in her gaze, and I could see just her looking with me at the corner of her eyesight. It was one of the most uncomfortable things. And I'm like, you don't need to be looking at your husband for 2 minutes getting a freaking drink, man. Like that's BS, man. That's annoying. Like, you're making me uncomfortable, and probably a lot of other people would have felt the same. Now, at some point, I'm like, screw this. I'm moving my table a little bit. That's the size of a laptop. And I'm able to see my friends play. And then 2 more steampunks come in. Same aesthetic, kind of thing. And I have no problem with that. Live your life. They're having fun. But the selfish artistic part kind of came out again. Because I'm watching my friends play, and these guys start drinking and dancing. I'm like, you're kidding me. I can't see my friends play now. I'm like, what the hell? That's another thing, is me being around settings where, people are on another level. Like, I can be in a bar setting with my friends. I can be around that, my friends drinking, having a good time. But I'm with people in that environment. But all my friends were on stage. It was just me around a bunch of people slowly getting more intoxicated. I'm like, But then I have to realize, people are having their version of a good time, and I have to adjust. I have to move a little bit. I have to kind of step out of my world into the world. And it made me think. I'm like, you know what? And it made me realize a couple things, a little more of myself and what I can and can't handle, or am comfortable with. I can be around my friends in a bar in a rowdy setting, but I can't be alone in that by myself. It just doesn't work. And so they're in the middle of their set. I'm like, you know what? I've checked out. I hit that wall, but it wasn't a bad wall. It wasn't a bad switch. I'm like, you know what? This just isn't my vibe anymore. So I just kind of left. I just left. I knew they probably weren't going to gravitate towards me after the show. There's so many other people there, and they're probably going to go out. I'm like, you know what? It's 11. I go to bed. I end my night a lot earlier now. So, yeah, and then I leave the bar, the venue itself, and I bump into a buddy of mine outside smoking a cigarette. I pop up my CBD vape, and, we're shooting the shit for a few minutes. He's showing me some music, and I show him a couple of songs or whatever I think he would like. And I know he can be a tad socially awkward too. I might think he's on the spectrum. He radiates a lot of the same energy that I can present sometimes. He seems to have a lot of fixations, and that's okay. I'll be touching up on fixations in another video. And with that, he's like, I'm like, you know what, I'm probably not going to be sticking around much longer. I'm a little tired. I got to drive back. And I wanted to get off the road before the drunk started getting on the road. And, when I got home, I went on a jog after like midnight workout, and sirens were blaring everywhere. I'm like, shit, I am so glad I got off the roads when I did. But, kind of diving deeper into the analysis of it, I recognized more of my inner selfishness and had to channel that in a different way to being like, I need to adapt myself, while people are having their version of a good time. They are not hurting me. That's why I felt obligated to adapt. They were having their version of a good time, and it seemed like a great time. Couples are dancing and all of that, and you know what? I can adjust too. And that's a huge thing, is adjusting. And, removing that inner selfishness that I think a lot of us on the spectrum have. And, adapting. Like, I moved just to another wall. I bumped into the dancer bumped into me, and she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm like, okay, that's fine. You have good intent. You care about the people in your proximity. And that's why and that was kind of a switch right there. And like, these guys aren't trying to piss people off. They're having a good time, and they're trying to be as aware of their surroundings and the people around it, and try and mind their own business and have a good time. And it made me think in how I'm going to explore that realization in different settings. And with that, I think I'm going to end the video with that, and there'll probably be more other social settings and stories that I come up with later. And, I'll talk to you guys about that down the road. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's video, and I hope to see you on the next one, and with much love.